Nigeria's debt profile is our next focus right now. Now, since the fall in the price of oil, the country has had to borrow funds to ensure that its finances projects and, well, it finances projects and, of course, meets demands. Now, but the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and many financial experts are concerned this current trend of borrowing is indeed dangerous for the nation's finance.
Now, in fact, the International Monetary Fund projects that by 2018, Nigeria's indebtedness could hit 24.1% of its gross domestic product, and at the end of 2017, it could reach 23.3%. Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio at the end of the 2016 stood at 18.6%. from 12.1% at the end of 2015.
The DMO says Nigeria's total debts, foreign and local, has risen to 19.16 trillion naira, and that's about $62.91 billion, up from the 17.36 trillion naira recorded at the end of December 2016. Now, this represents an increase of 1.8 trillion. A total of 1.84 trillion naira was also provided in the 2017 budget for debt servicing.
Now, the report from the Debt Management Office shows that at the end of March 2015, the country's debt profile stood at 12.06 trillion naira, and in the last 2 years, the debt level increased by 7.1 trillion naira. Wow.
And that's where we should take it from.
Yeah, putting everything now at about 19.16 trillion naira. That's a big one.
In just 2 years, 7.1 trillion increase from 12.06 actually in 2015. Well, joining us now is a financial analyst, Emeka Oberi. I hope you can help us understand this. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Ngozi and Mike. Thanks for having me.
Is it a no-brainer to ask how did we get here?
Ngozi, honestly, my spirit is down. It's very unfortunate where we found ourselves in this country. 19.16 trillion naira debt. Record that over the last 2 years, 7.16 trillion naira of these monies were borrowed over the last 2 years. You know, I've heard these stories, people saying the crude oil, these narratives, we had falling crude oil prices, output came down. And I want to ask us this question. The situation we found ourselves in 2015 was not as bad as 1999 when Obasanjo took over governance. That was at the time Nigeria was coming out of pariah status. Every nation blacked us out. At the time Obasanjo became the head of, took over power in 1999, crude oil prices were at $17.36 per barrel. 17.36. Go and check it. The records are there. Output was about 1.9 million barrels per day. In fact, for the first 2 years of Obasanjo's reign, crude oil prices did not go above $24 per barrel. And for people that somebody will ask you what was our population then, what was the inflation rate, the dollar, go and check the purchasing power parity of the dollar from 1999 till now. It has not moved up to 2%. It's a very stable convertible currency. Now the question we should be asking ourselves, that is a false narrative, warped narrative that has pinned, spawned to deceive people. Now, between 2015 till now, we've borrowed 7.1 trillion naira. Go and check. We've earned crude oil. We've gotten about $75 to $90 billion crude oil sales. Go and check. The records are there. Other sources of revenues we've received. Where are we putting all these monies? What are we doing with all these monies?
That's the question we hope you can help us answer. Can these figures be justified?
Now, yesterday, the federal government of Nigeria approached the Senate to approve another $1.5 billion for 6 states. I took out time to look at the tax statement that accompanied that proposal. Like Ebonyi State is borrowing $70 million to do ring road. Kaduna is borrowing $100 million to do health care. Abia is borrowing $100 million to do rural road. Go and check and ask this question. This is the only environment where we hear people are borrowing this. We don't know the projects to which these borrowings are tied to. Now you ask yourself this question. In the 2017 budget, the certain revenues that are going to come from crude oil sales is about $7 billion. You already have debt profile of about 62, existing debt profile of about 62.3 billion. $23 billion of that money we have borrowed over the last 2 years, both local and external. Where are we going with this rate? You know, and you also hear some experts, I call them pseudo experts, say that our debt to GDP is not comparable to that of America.
It's not that bad.
Come on, what are we talking about here? Debt to GDP of what? An economy that is so import dependent, an economy that is not producing anything. Our science and technology minister told us we are going to be producing pencil in 2018. You compare yourself with environments where the ratio, the percentage of deposit in their banking system is almost about 300% of their GDP. You compare yourself to economies that are fully automated, are producing things that they use 100%. You know, it's high time, I think, we declare emergency in this sector. You see, there is no problem.
An emergency in the economy.
Economy, serious emergency. Because one, debt borrowing is not wrong. Borrowing in itself is not wrong. But borrowing for what? That's the question we should ask ourselves. In 2015, the wage bill of the public sector at the federal level was about 1.4 trillion. As I'm talking to that, it's about 1.8 trillion, and it's going to blow up even the next 1 year. That means over the last 2 years, we've increased our wage bill to about 400 billion without commensurate productivity to match it. And we brag and we said, and look at it, what Obasanjo did. We give that man, see, no matter the any misgiving people may have about the man, Obasanjo is one of the most detribalized, one of the most nationalistic persons I've seen in this country. He came on board despite the tales of wars, despite our challenges. Obasanjo set up a crack team of economic experts. Remember that before he left almost about $60 billion in foreign reserves.
Yes, indeed.
Cleared our external debt obligations, set up our economy to start in a very sound state, consolidate the banking industry. Nigerian economy was growing at the rate of about 7% per annum.
But if the foundation was that solid as you want us to believe, what happened then so quickly to turn things around in such a bad way?
That is the challenges we have in Nigeria. You know, politics and our structures. And I will tell you why. Obasanjo did it because Obasanjo is very nationalistic in focus. Obasanjo is not the kind of person that will appoint you because you are his king's man or you are his whatever. Obasanjo looks for the best, and he picked the best, and the best delivered. The challenges we have in Nigeria today, even today, that we have refused to put the round pegs in the round holes. And we have refused. Over time, one of the manifestos of the ruling government today is that they are going to restructure this country. See, Ngozi, the foundational problem we have in this country today has to do with our structure. That is it. The structure we are currently running, the structure that encourages nepotism, the structure that encourages mediocrity, the structure that encourages other primordial considerations are over excellence and merit. And that is why we are having it rough. That is why we are having it wrong. Borrowing is good, but borrowing against what? Over time, go and check. Go and see the kind of money flowing into Namibia, the kind of money flowing into Angola, the kind of
South
money
Africa
flowing into South Africa, the kind of money going into Cote d'Ivoire. And I tell you, this is one country that ticks all the right boxes for every decided investor to come into. But we have to put the right things right. The whole manner of agitation going on in this country is not because of our faulty foundation. We must swallow our pride. We must put politics aside and restructure. And I will tell you this, if this country is restructured back to what we have in 1963, if we go back, swallow our pride, forget politics, I will tell you, every part of this country has something great to contribute to the development of this country. Between 1960 to 1960 was the only time we practiced productive economy. We had an economy that was growing based on productivity, merit, and excellence. What we have now is all a matter of sharing. People gather, go to Abuja, take the little that we have, share. They borrow, they bring it, they will share. Everybody's after what they will share. And the structure also encourages nepotism. I will tell you, I'm sorry to say this. How do we have a workforce that have grown almost 100% over the last 18 years? There is no commensurate productivity. Once somebody becomes a governor, he goes to his village and pack every amount of junk and put it into that place. Employment. Once somebody becomes president, he goes to his village and pack all manner of junk and put on us in terms of public sector employees. In the private sector, people are employed on need basis. GT Bank, Zenith Bank cannot employ you. Jimobe will not employ you because you are from his village.
Yeah.
You must be employed based on a target that you must deliver for the growth of the company. But in the public sector, what we have here is driven because of the 40 foundation. If we go
so
back
what is the target for Nigeria? Does Nigeria even have a target in the first place? I mean, we come up with the yearly budgets and all of that. We say we want to diversify the economy and what have you.
Because have you not seen the economic recovery and growth plan that they launched over the last 2 months?
Yes.
Ambitious. I've asked specific questions. Everybody clapped. The president, acting president, they posed for the camera and everybody clapped. 2 months after, where are the specifics?
Yeah.
Have they appointed the special forensic advisory unit that will be in the president that will monitor the implementations? I took one example, the housing sector. They told us they are going to build 2 million housing units over the next 3 years in 2020. And then goes between me and you to build 22 million housing, even the basic housing, 2-bedroom flats, will take at least between 5 to 7 million naira to do based on the cost of things. We are looking at about 15 trillion naira over the next 3 years. And they say they are going to set up the family housing fund of about 1 trillion to drive it as a
and that is
fund.
Expected to provide jobs too.
Because as I'm talking to you now, 2 months after, we've not heard anything from the Ministry of Housing. We've not heard anything from the Federal Mortgage Bank, anything from the presidency on how they intend to raise 16 trillion naira to execute this project. And the year is almost coming to an end.
All right.
It's not good enough to just talk.
Let's look into, a lot of people have talked about the issue of the private sector. What kind of challenges, because they are the ones who should actually drive any economy, any activity and all of that. What kind of challenges are there before the private sector?
The challenges there is because, I'm sorry to say this, if you look at Lagos State government, the only 3 states today in Nigeria that are viable, that can stand without any records coming from Abuja: Lagos, Ogun State, and Anambra State. Go and check the fiscal foundations of these 3 states. Anambra State does not owe salaries, they do not owe pensions, they pay as and when due. Anambra State is growing at all sectors. Anambra State is even exporting vegetable. They end up about $5 million exporting. Lagos State government is doing the same thing. Ogun State government is doing the same thing. They are doing the same thing despite the 40 foundations. Imagine what they would have done if the foundations were right. Imagine what Lagos would have done if there were fiscal federalism and resource control, where they utilize everything they earn to develop Lagos and pay 50% to the center. Imagine how it will have impacted in other states. Where does the private sector come in here? I am a strong advocate of private-public partnership. I will give you an example now. Like, for example, the 2 states that want to borrow money to go and do healthcare. Healthcare how? I will give you an example. I was privileged to meet an Israeli firm, one of the biggest healthcare providers in the whole world. They are bigger than even the Apollo Hospital Group in India. And the guy said to me, we are willing, in fact, we prefer private-public partner initiative. We are if we are partnering with the state government, the state government will provide 50% of the money. We will provide 50% of the money. We will invest and set up some of the best diagnostic hospital centers in Nigeria. And they say they will man and drive it. They will link it to some of the best hospital groups in Israel. And they will train our personnel here. And the cost of Medicare can be subsidized for the individuals of the state by the state governor. But the hospital will be run under a private-public initiative for efficiency. Go to my state, home state, Imo State. The governor woke up home and he wants to do 27 new general hospitals. He started building 27 carcasses in the 27 local government areas. Wow. Whereas we have existing general hospitals like death traps where people cannot even get basic Medicare. What stopped this man from saying, okay, in the 3 senatorial zones, I will set up 3. Going in the same private-public partnership, get a private sector who will invest 40%. The private sector will bring 40%. Then they will develop this thing to world class. It will bring about medical tourism to the state. Then what will you do? You can subsidize health care for your people through whatever rural health care scheme. You can do health insurance scheme working with telecommunication firms. It is done in India. It is done in Kenya. Why can't we emulate and copy what is good in other climes? All this borrowing spree, I will tell you, we borrowed until Obasanjo came. Obasanjo cleared it. Now we've gone again on this borrowing spree. I feel sorry for those that will hear this.
And we have the Paris Club funds that were released too to the states. And that many people are saying it is not even being justified too. I mean, we're refunding these monies to states and they're not really using it for anything. Now, you pointed out the fact that, yeah, the fundamental issue here is the structure of the Nigerian Federation. But you've given us some success stories. So is it really about the quality of governance at the state level that, you know, has a question mark in front of it?
Quality of governance, and of course it is structure that brought the quality of governance. One of the things we must do, the political and governance structure we have in Nigeria today does not encourage people with brain, people with creativity, people with passion to go into governance. That's the truth. You see a situation where somebody is required to bring 27 million naira to buy nomination form. Where would the money come from? There are people in Nigeria today, citizens of this country, both in Nigeria and diaspora, that have great ideas of what they can do to revamp this economy. But they cannot have the space. We must overhaul the whole governance, fiscal, socio-economic and political architecture of this country. When we talk about restructuring, people get afraid that we're talking about balkanizing. I'm telling you, I am not an advocate of balkanizing this country. Nigeria's strength is in our unity and diversity. Nigeria, as we are today, see, breaking Nigeria will not help anybody. Because as we are as a united country, if we put the structures right, back to what we have in 1963, so that we now have a productive economy where people produce and share, introduce resource control, introduce fiscal federalism. If Lagos state government collect VAT, I traveled to Dubai last year, and I checked into a hotel. Dubai is a very score Islamic state. In that hotel room, I opened my fridge. I saw all manner of exotic alcoholic drink. But do you know what they did? One small alcoholic drink, they'll put it $100. They've indirectly taxed it to discourage you. So if you want to take the same alcoholic drink here, is not up to 50 cents in Nigeria. So if you want to drink the alcohol, you pay for it. But here in Nigeria, somebody will stand in Kano and raise his bar and say he doesn't want alcohol anywhere in Kano. But he will Lagos State will collect all the VAT from alcohol, and the man will claim the whole money using his bogus population.
The issues you have raised are so fundamental that it makes it difficult to even begin to ask questions as to, so what do we do with the bad situation that is the debt profile of Nigeria right now? Where do we go from here then, beyond some of the fundamental issues that you've raised? Is there anything that can be done?
Yes.
What?
I am not against borrowing, but we must borrow against capital development. We must borrow against assets that can sweat money.
Which is what government is saying.
No, that's not what they are doing.
For example, is saying, look, I need $1.49 billion for 10 states because we need to provide water, health, agric, infrastructure, and all of that. So what is wrong with that?
The structure is wrong. I met a group in Dubai from Oman. This group is very big in water resources. The guy, in fact, they told me, when I told them, I said, a bottle of Ragolis water is more expensive in Nigeria than Coca-Cola. They were shocked. The guys are into, man, they're a very big company, Indian company. The guy said that they are willing to come into this country, play in that sector. All they need is a government that will partner with them. They will bring 8% of the money. Because there is so much room for them to create PPP, provide water. Some of the high-brow areas we have in Lagos today do not even have pipe-borne waters. Everybody digs his own borehole. People are willing. So we must borrow under a private-public partnership arrangement. The structure of our borrowing is very, very wrong. And we must go back again. If this federal government can do this for us, if Buhari's government can only achieve this for us, overhaul the whole foundational architecture of Nigeria back to what we have in 1963. Nigeria has 6 regions. Let it be the constituent units. Bring resource control. It will encourage people to go back and begin to look inwards. I made mention here last time I came here. Kebbi State is a rice belt. If the whole aspect, Lagos can go to Kebbi State and invest. I can go there and invest.
Nemeka, that's the much time can permit us right now. There's so much, and every time we have you here, there's just so much to take in at the same time. But we don't have all the time right now. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right.